Hello and welcome back to a new video. Sorry if I look weird or if I feel very nervous. I'm filming this backwards, or with my phone backwards, so that you guys can see the art best, but what I have for you today is going over all of my illustration 1 assignments from this past semester, and I tried to order them in chronological order. Yeah, I'm really excited. I kind of just want to talk about these pieces because they're not my usual thing because it's an art class, but I'm really proud of what I did this semester. So I'm gonna get right into it. Our first assignments, what we were learning about mainly was line and composition. Our first assignment was to make a book cover for a book we really like, and I chose The Secret History, and I made this. I kind of got my grade on this. I was a little upset because she gave me like a B, but you know what? It's kind of bad. But it's the outline of a rabbit, and I didn't really use, I tried to like look up anatomical references of rabbits, but it was a little tricky. So it's not the best, but going with just line art, I was very busy at the beginning of the semester. If you watch my midterm video, which I just finished yesterday as of filming this, if you watch those videos, you would know that I was taking an accelerated course, which means you're taking an entire semester's length of work in 1 month. So I had no time to put into any effort into a lot of the beginning illustration 1 assignments, which is upsetting, but I don't think I would have done anything much different with this one because it's a huge piece of paper, I don't really work big, and it was kind of a lame assignment, so whatever. But so that was the first one. Our second one, we were learning about perspective, and she wanted us to do a perspective cityscape, and I'm pretty proud of this. Like, I think it's all right. My biggest issue is that I wanted it to be 3-point perspective, so I wanted it to be a lot more dramatic, but I think for 2-point, it's really good. There are definitely a couple of places where you can see the lines are really wonky and don't really add up, but I overall don't think it takes away from the entire piece. I think it's all right. I definitely could have used a ruler more though, so that would be something I would go back and do, but considering the amount of detail I tried to add to the city, I definitely wanted it to be very New York-esque. I think it's pretty good for what it is. Our next assignment was actually really cool. I thought I was gonna hate it, and I did hate it solely because I had to buy the supplies out of pocket for this class because this class didn't have a financial aid package that my school usually offers. I'm actually really proud of this. So we had to, I think it was like Aesop's Tales or something like that. That was the assignment we were supposed to be doing. We had to make one based off of something, and mine was like about an old man being like, oh man, I wish I were dead, because he was like tired because of work, and then the Grim Reaper shows up and he was like, yeah, hey, you can hand me that axe, like I'll get back to work. So it doesn't really look too much like the tail, but oh, it's trying to track my face, but it doesn't really look too much like the tail, but I really do like all the work I did because it was so much to try and whittle it out, but I do think it stuck to like my original line art style, and I just think it's really interesting. If I had more time, I would have liked to add more details. It was very much inspired by this piece in the game Omori, in Omori's sketchbook. A lot of like rotating symbols and patterns and stuff that I would have liked to do more of, but we only have like 5 days for these assignments. So for our next assignment, it was a graphite portrait study, and it was a value portrait study of a celebrity. I chose Kurt Cobain. You definitely see these in the midterm video. Also, there's going to be some pieces I reserved towards the end, because even if I did them at an earlier time, because my final assignment for this class was to draw 3 new pieces and then rework 3 old ones that we did throughout the semester. So, like, I'm going to save them towards the end when I start talking about the final assignment because I did a lot of work on them, so that it's not going to be in super chronological order. But this was my first attempt at a Kurt Cobain portrait. I think it's all right. It's very much in my own style, which was not the point of this assignment, which is why I ended up redoing it. As you can see, we were doing a grid, and I hate grids. I hate it. I hate them so much. But yeah, I think it's pretty good for like staying in my own style. I don't really think you can see that it's Kurt Cobain unless you know the exact portrait that I was referencing, which, I mean, it's a pretty infamous picture of him, and he's a pretty infamous guy, or famous? It's a famous picture of him. He's a famous guy, so I bet most people will recognize it. It's the shot from MTV Unplugged. And then this was the one that I technically turned in for the assignment. I'm trying to make sure there's no glare. This is a very weird setup, so if you see me looking away, I'm sorry. My phone's back camera is facing me, so I can't see what's going on. So I have a mirror behind it, and so that I'm looking at that to try and see, but I feel like I'm looking away from the camera, so it's bad, but okay, hold on. All right, I think there's no glare. So this is the one I ended up turning in, and I actually used the grid method for it, and that's why it looks so bad. I hate realism, I hate portraits, I hate graphite. That being said, those assignments were really fun because I did both of those pieces in about 1.5 classes. We have 3-hour studio classes, and I have one on Monday, one on Wednesday. So the fact that I did both in like very little time impressed me. So after that, we finally started moving on to our color unit, which was with gouache. I'm just gonna let you guys sit in that. All the art videos you guys see that I do, and I know I haven't done some in a bit, but you guys know that I am a watercolor girl. I don't do gouache. So this was our first assignment, again doing the thing where I look at the mirror. This was our first color assignment with gouache. We had to do 3 metaphors, and so like apple of my eye, bite the bullet, hit the nail on the head, and speak of the devil. Those were the ones I chose. So we had to do 4 metaphors, and then we had to pick color palettes and colors that we thought emotionally resonated with the metaphors. So this was like what's it called? This is a monochrome color palette, and it's all blue because I always feel as though biting the bullet is something done out of necessity and anxiety. So blue is kind of depressive but also anxious. So this was complimentary. I don't know. I forget which ones I chose for which, but you can see like this one I'm really proud of. This one was analogous. I don't know how to say it, but it's analogous, I believe. So those are 3 colors that are next to each other, so that's why it's like red, yellow, orangish, pink, and then a little tiny pop of green. And this one was the last one I did, and it was just, I just threw stuff at the wall with it, honestly. But yeah, I'm kind of proud of it. I'm definitely really proud of this one right here. This is my, I'm so proud of this. I wish I didn't do too much of the white gel because I think it takes away from how much detail with the blue that I did, because it was very hard to do all of this without a sketch, without really an idea of anything going on underneath, and I'm very proud of how well it turned out. Now, I believe our next assignment was a propaganda piece where we looked at pieces of Norman Rockwell and we tried to use a photo reference. So this is my propaganda piece. Well, it wasn't really we were doing propaganda pieces, we were just inspired by propaganda pieces of old, mainly Norman Rockwell. And I wanted to do kind of a feminist one. She's kind of beating him up. He was I'm trying to allude that he was stealing from her, and she goes and beats him up. I don't know. I was just trying to get something out quick, if I'm being completely honest. I don't like the background color. This was going to be one that I originally chose to fix up for my final, but I just didn't feel like doing it. So I don't like the background color at all. I feel as though it's just too dingy, but I don't know what color would go best in the back, because I tried red. You can see actually, maybe not, but there's like, when you touch it, there's a notable indent from how much paint I used, because it was originally going to be red, and then I realized I didn't have enough red, and then I tried to do yellow, and I didn't have enough yellow, so I had to go over everything with orange, because the red and the yellow were wet still, so I had to go over it, and it just became this dingy, nasty color. Our next assignment was studying a job in animation, and she let us choose from a list of a couple different jobs, like a character designer, a color key artist, a background artist. I honestly don't remember because I obviously chose a character designer, and I did Cole, so, you know, the channel legend, my boy. I hated that I had to do this in gouache because there is no way anybody in the industry does any sort of character design with gouache, at least officially, like for their job, maybe for fun, but this was awful. So I drew him standing up, and then a 3/4 face view and a side view, and I wanted to do some details on the horns. This is like kind of how they're attached to his head. They're underneath the scalp, connected to the skull. The horns are bone. Don't know why they're red, just because it looks cool, but they're attached to the skull. So I wanted to show that with this little diagram. I wanted to show how they kind of sat on his head, and then also a view of his arm. I realized this was supposed to be the same arm, but I realized it's actually a different arm from how it's viewed, because he's going like this, but then if it's his back, he's going like this. So it's actually a complete different arm, which was a mistake on my end, but I wanted to show kind of his scars, and then also I just kind of wanted to flex on my class that I could draw semi-realistic anatomy. This was mainly trying to go back to the metaphor piece, where in this one I tried to get a lot of definition in the face, like actually anatomically correct for my art style, but I really wanted to try and make definition in the body. So that's why I wanted to do it here, because I wanted to do it in an actual skin tone and just see what I could do. So it came out very cell shaded, which I kind of really enjoy with gouache, in all honesty, but I think it looks pretty good. I tried to go over it with line work, which you can see, which was horrible. It was horrible. So the next assignment I'm going to show you after that is actually a collaboration we have with the marketing department of my college, where all the students from my class kind of enter a competition where we all make a piece for a postcard for like mental wellness classes, stuff like that. And so we make our pieces, and then someone from the marketing department shows it to a bunch of students, and the students vote on which one wins. I was just trying to pump out something quick because she assigned this to us right after assigning us our finals. So I wanted to work on my final. And so this is what I pulled out with. And I think it's pretty good. I kind of was going for like a yoga feel. Like I really wanted to use purple because I feel like it's like a really calm color. I kind of wish I made the bodies more blobbish because they look really weird being semi-anatomically correct, but they're all bald with no hair. So I feel like if I made them a little more abstract forms, I feel like it would look a lot better. But I really like how they all, like the colors change as they come forward. They get a little bit darker so you can see which ones are in the foreground, background, etc. And I honestly just really like the shade of purple I was able to work with. Alright, so now we're going to look at the pieces that I did for my final, and I'm going to show you, I don't actually know which order I'm going to show you in. I'll show you this one first. We had to do a collage assignment where we made an illustration out of collage. She wanted us to do an endangered animal, and if you don't know me, I love koalas. So I chose a koala. I thought it was really fitting, and there was no colored pencil, so the finishing touch that I did for my final on this one was going back in with colored pencil to add some more definition to all the shapes, kind of bring out some more of the like 3D-ness of the collage. The next one I have, we had a caricature assignment where we had to do a celebrity, and we had to make a caricature of them. So again, I chose Kurt Cobain because I have no creativity, and he looks so goofy, but that's the point of a caricature. But I feel like I could have pushed it more, and it would have looked more like a caricature, and I would have felt more at home. So to me, it's a little unnerving, but I'm also really proud of it because I think the coloring is very good. I think I did pretty good with that. And what I did to fix this for my final was I went back over the hair because I felt as though the hair just didn't work. It was just something I didn't like. So I went back over it in some places. But I'm really proud of the face and like all the different layers. I think I definitely feel at home with gouache and with working with gouache in like a very cell shaded style. So yeah. And then the next one I have is a stippling self-portrait, which was part of my midterm assignment, but I went back over, and so you can see that it's me. And you could see I tried to like get my hair in there, and I really like this, honestly. I think I did a really good job. I traced over my face, that's why it looks good. Not because I can actually do realism, I used a light box. But she said that's okay after I did it, but it's fine, it's fine. I still stippled it all on my own. But I think, I'm sorry if it's bugging out. I'm on cinematic mode because I thought it would look good, but I keep seeing the thing switch back and forth. But yeah. So what I did for this one was originally in this area, it was like all white because that's where the light was coming from. And there were like weird blobs of white where I tried to stipple in with black to make it blend into the background. But instead, I just colored the entire background black, and then I went back in with a white gel pen to bring out some sort of light and define it some more. And I love this so much more now. I was always a little insecure about it because it's my own face, but now that it's a lot stronger of a piece, I'm just proud of it, and I can't be like anything else. So yeah, just one more. Yeah. And the next piece, I actually don't have the originals to show you. I will use some old footage here to show you, because these are in my school's art gallery right now, or at least they're being put in the art gallery right now. I don't know if it's open, but for my final, we had to do a 3-part series where we used something we learned, something from one of our assignments for our final, and we had to make a series of 3 paintings that were all involved with each other in some way. So me having 3 kind of main characters in my OC story, I was like, oh my god, I can draw all 3 of them. So what I did was use the thin guise of, hey, we did portraits like one time, so I'm gonna do portraits, but not realistic and not with gouache or graphite. She allowed me to use watercolor, thank God, because this would have came out so much worse if I had to use gouache. So here's the first piece. This is Andy. He's the antagonist of the story, and I think his face looks a little goofy. Like, I definitely shaded this way too hard, and along with his lips as well. It's a little hard because I'm working on an illustration board that's about this big, so I believe like a 9x12, or I don't know the dimensions of this, but I'm working about that big, which is not how big I usually work. But yeah, so this is Andy. He is on the left. When you look at it on a wall, he is on the left of the piece. And then the middle part, this is Gwen. And the more I look at her face, I do not like it, guys. I do not like it at all. I feel as though the eyes are too big, and also they're not symmetrical, and her mouth is a little too red. She's supposed to be looking up, like, and I did not do that. I went like, that was a little fault of my own. I'd love to redo this and actually get the like chin, but it's really hard to draw a chin like this, because if you look, it's all the same thing, so you have to like figure out there. Whole mess. And then there's my darling, my baby, my boy. Whenever I feel as though I'm doing something wrong, I draw Cole, and then the world is right again, because I'm sure there's some flaw with this, and there is. I know there is. It's too good. It's too good. The hair. Look at the hair. Lord almighty. I feel myself becoming a Baptist preacher about this, because like, oh my Lord. I am so proud of this. This was, I don't even know what to say. I'm really proud of all the like inking detail, and I feel as though if there was something I would change about it, it would be right here. I would probably try to like water that down a little more, but otherwise, the other 2 were warm-ups. The other 2 were practice. This is the one that matters. Okay. So, all in all, I feel as though I finished my class pretty strong. I wish I had the originals of these to show you, because these are photographs that she printed out, and they look very washed out from what they are. They're a lot more saturated in real life. So I really hope I throw in a clip from probably my final video of those pieces for you to see. I hope you liked this video. I am really happy to go over all of my assignments because it's really fun to look at how much progress I made just through the semester. I honestly feel like I didn't learn too much in this class this year because we were just kind of thrown to the wolves with a lot of it. She, at the end of our finals, she kept asking us what we would change about the class, and I was like, I would have loved more demos and a lot more experimentation with mediums, because learning gouache, having to just use gouache this class was super interesting because I never really worked with gouache. I've had my own gouache container for a while, but I never used it. I never picked it over watercolor, so having to rely on that was definitely really interesting. But I told her I would have loved if she really sat down and showed us how to do some of these things, proper gouache techniques, you know, colored pencil. We didn't use colored pencil this entire semester. Being able to work with watercolor in this class would have been great. And not only for my own comfort zone, but also to learn proper techniques from an actual illustrator. I think that would have been great. And so I don't really learn too well from just being told to go and do something because I'm just gonna rely on what I already know. That's why a lot of the early assignments, they kind of suck because I was just doing what I already knew. She wasn't really teaching us anything new about perspective that I didn't already learn from drawing one or from high school or from middle school or from a YouTube video. So, but she's also the professional artist who got a master's in art. So I know she knows her stuff, which is why I'm like, man, just show us a demo. Actually, my caricature assignment is one of the ones I'm most proud of because she showed us a demo. So that was one we did a demo on, as small of a demo as that was, and that helped me out so much because otherwise I wouldn't have had any idea of what to do. So all that to be said, I really enjoyed this class. Even though I don't think I learned too much, I definitely think I learned enough, and at least it was all really fun experiments. This is all, like, a lot of this is stuff that I'm considering putting in a portfolio if I apply to an art school. I'm only really thinking of SVA, maybe UHart for a backup school, but really I just want SVA. I just want SVA. So I'm definitely considering putting a lot of these in my portfolio, and it made me a lot more excited to try out more technical classes next semester. Next semester I signed up for drawing 2 and for figure studies. So I'm really excited about that. And again, I hope you guys liked these pieces. I know these aren't, like, you know, a lot of the art you guys follow me for, but because I'm kind of an art student now, half of one because I'm an illustration student, but also a business student. Follow me if you want to see more stuff. I'll have my art socials linked below, and leave video ideas, please God, because I want to keep making videos, but I have no idea what to make. This was, I feel as though this is a half-baked idea, even though I think it's actually interesting. So, yeah. Bye!